So he should be here soon, I'm hoping. You know, I don't understand. All these big names, they just keep showing up fashionably late. There he is, Mr. Moe Powers.
I'm right here. I'm
I
right
did. I
here.
talked a lot of shit before you got here.
I know. I know. I caught you right at the end.
Yeah, number one, you called me an annoying host. Do you care to elaborate on that?
I did not say you're an annoying host. I said, you said you were an annoying host. I just agreed with you. That's
No,
all I did.
am I an annoying host? And you're like,
No, no, no. I just agreed with you because you said, "Hey Mo, am I an annoying host?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe you are." You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, you are what you say you are. I just went along with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, "Hey Mo, am I a good host?" Then I would have gone along with you.
all good. I appreciate your honesty. That is what
I
I'm
was
here
just being
for. Real
honest. I was being
people,
honest.
real
Hey
conversation.
guys, we got some people in the room.
So, Mo, you're in Miami right now.
Yeah, we're in Miami right now.
What are you guys doing there? What took you to Miami?
Well, I do business here in Miami, so I'm a partner in a business down here. We're also conducting some MoCan group business as well. So yeah, I just came down here for business about almost 2 months ago now, and
Now you're stuck.
this all got worse. So I didn't really get stuck. Everyone keeps thinking I got stuck, but I really didn't get stuck. I'm a Canadian citizen. So I do have my Canadian passport. At any time, I can go to the Canadian border and say, "Hey, let me in." You know what I mean? So it's not a big deal. I'm not really worried.
Have you gotten sick since being in Miami?
No, not at all. I have not gotten sick, but actually today in my condo building, they sent out an email and notified everyone that we have one person now in our building that has the case of coronavirus, and they've contained him in his unit. They will not, let us know which unit he's at or he or she which floor, but they've contained him, and yeah, that's what. Hey, what's up, Jam? How you doing, guys?
So, does
Much
that
love.
make you nervous, Mo, when you're doing things like taking an elevator, touching a door handle? Are you taking any precautions, or do you just not care?
Um, no, I do care. This is definitely something to be taken seriously. A lot of people think I'm not taking it that serious, but I am definitely taking it serious. I keep a bottle of sanitizer in my pocket. I actually bought it for $10. So yeah, sanitizer is completely out everywhere here, and I bought actually a box of sanitizer for like $100.
Okay.
Came with like 10 bottles. So I keep that in my pocket. I'm constantly sanitizing. I'm constantly vigilant. I'm not touching my face and just basically, yeah, watching what I touch and keeping my hands kind of like right here, you know?
So, Mo, you're a man who loves life. You love to travel. You love to see the world, go out, be everywhere, do things. What is this going to do to you when it all ends? Are you going to be the same lover of life that you are now?
That if anything, this has made me love life even more. You know what I'm saying? So like everyone's kind of focusing on all the negative things that this has kind of brought to our lives, and it's changed everything, and literally the world has like frozen. You know what I'm saying? In time, but I'm looking at I'm trying to focus on the opportunities that this has to offer. I've put aside time to evolve my own business. I put aside time to kind of expand our website and kind of do things that I kept putting off because I was so busy. Now that we have so much time on our hands, I can kind of focus on evolving those things and strengthening them throughout my different companies and businesses that we have.
So, do you care to elaborate on your businesses? Because I know that a few people are probably interested in knowing what it is that you actually do.
Yeah, no problem. So my main business is design and construction. We are known as a let's go drag racing. I love it. Yeah, that's my other business, going drag racing. So actually, one of my biggest businesses is design and construction. We do engineering, architectural, structural design, do the complete permit process with city and all the city officials, and we do complete construction from ground up. So that's one of my bigger businesses. That is an essential business. So I do still have current open projects in Ottawa and Toronto as we speak right now, and there's guys on site. You know what I mean? And but we've really dropped down. So let's say we've actually downsized like like about 75% because of this.
Okay.
And it is definitely serious. I mean, there's residential projects that we have, and we literally had to put everything on hold and freeze everything because people are quarantining, right? They don't want strangers in their home, obviously, during this pandemic. But there are some sites like concrete work and stuff like that that we're still doing. Funding has gotten a little difficult with certain clients to get funding from the banks because the banks were kind of funding all this. It just now became a slower process. You know what I mean? So that's kind of put a little bit of strain on us for sure. Financially, we're strained throughout the board, right? Because of this virus. But yeah, that's one of my biggest businesses. My other business, I'm actually a partner in a boat dealership down here in Miami. So we sell boats and jet skis and paddle boards and all that stuff. You know, good place to do that in Miami. And then yeah, we rent out exotic cars as well in Miami, in Toronto, Montreal. We do weddings.
Have those sales gone down?
That has basically stopped. Now I do have a couple of bookings that have happened for weddings right now. There's still people booking their wedding. I mean, weddings are still going to happen. I don't think people are canceling their weddings. So far, I don't know if that's the case, but there are definitely a couple of bookings, but the sales have completely halted, basically. And then my other business is actually I'm a partner in a racing simulator lounge. So we actually have you know, a lounge actually right in Carling in Ottawa. We're opening up 2 more locations in Toronto and working on opening up another location here in Florida. So I mean, that has basically completely stopped. You know, we've had to lay off certain employees for now. But I mean, I think Justin Trudeau came out with something saying that we can pretty much hire them back, and they're going to do something with giving us like a $40,000 loan or something like that. So we're gonna definitely look into all the options because you know, our employees, we're trying to help them out as much as possible, but it's again, we're super tight financially.
Wow.
Yes, Oliver, I love you, buddy. He's actually sitting right behind you right now.
Oh, that's too funny. Hey.
Yeah, they're all here.
For reminding him.
Weddings are canceled for the moment. God is giving. Oh, look at that! Great, I like that. I love it. I love it.
I have to ask because I'm curious, and I think a lot of viewers are curious as well. What is actually happening in the States that we're not seeing in Canadian media? Are people isolating? Are they going out? What's going on?
I mean, so in the States, everything is completely halted, just like in Canada. I mean, I got a couple of Airbnbs, and they're actually canceled from now until like 4 months in advance. Like everything's shut down. Hotels are shut down. Police have actually put curfews in place and stuff like that. They're stopping people in the streets, asking where you're going and stuff like that. You have to have a good essential reason why you're actually out. But I don't see it it's not as strict as certain places. So in Miami, I feel like it's really sort of loose. I mean, I'm out at 1 a.m. walking right by cops or bicycling, and no one ever says anything to you. So I mean, I've heard the people getting asked, but yeah,
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I mean, listen, it's so there's still a group of people that are not taking this very seriously. Okay, so there's definitely that group. Now, I don't know if I fully blame them. Maybe they're not being explained to enough, or they're not getting the right information. But there's definitely people that are not taking it super serious. And then there's a lot of people that are taking it very seriously.
So, as a businessman, looking at what this is going to do to you financially, what thoughts do you have for the future of your businesses? Where do you think they'll be in the next year from now?
I mean, I you know, we're going to always keep leveling up. I mean, I never want to think that, oh my gosh, you know, where my business going to be? I wouldn't be an entrepreneur if I thought like that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep leveling up. We're going to keep killing it. You know, we're not going to stop. You know what I'm saying? So in a year from now, as soon as this gets resolved, we're going to get back on the horse, and we're going to kill it. I mean, there's no question about that.
Right. Do you think this will change the way people interact with each other socially from here on out?
I think, you know, when all this is over, people are going to really appreciate, you know, one-on-one human contact more. You know, I think families have been FaceTiming. I mean, I've been FaceTiming with my family almost every day. Friends have been FaceTiming each other just down the street. You know what I mean? And it's everywhere. It's like that, right? So I think people are going to really appreciate that one-on-one human connection, that like just that real, you know, human connection that we're all kind of lacking right now. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Some of us can't handle it. We keep going out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, interacting, unfortunately, but you know, we're definitely going to appreciate that more, I believe. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have another question for you, and it's something I've asked every single one of my guests. Do you have any conspiracy attached to COVID-19 that you'd like to share?
You know, listen, I'm always one that hates conspiracy theories. Like, I freaking hate them, okay? But I mean, I've heard a lot of things and I've seen a lot of videos, and there's a video actually circling right now of a guy sitting in a mask. I don't know if you've seen it. He's talking about his family. Everyone's seen that. It's like 3 million views. And he talks about how the drug companies have this drug patent, and like the patents were from like 2006, and one was just approved in November, and that this is a weak-ass virus and stuff like that. You know, that guy's not a doctor. You know what I mean? Let's not forget, that guy's not a doctor. He's just an individual who did a bunch of research on Google. And if you go on Google, there's actually like a million different sources giving millions of different information about the same virus. So, I mean, it depends on where he got his sources from. The patents do exist. I actually looked them up. They do exist. Okay, there is a European patent for coronavirus. There's an American patent for coronavirus that was bought by a company back in 2016 or something like that. Now those patents for coronavirus, you know, he says coronavirus. Coronavirus has always existed.
Right.
For them to have a patent for coronavirus in 2006, and oh my God, they knew that this was happening, and they've been planning this for 20 years. It's not the case. Coronavirus has always existed. Coronavirus is just a name for a respiratory illness, you know, a disease. There's many coronaviruses. So then to have a patent on a coronavirus, it's probably a specific patent on a specific coronavirus, okay? So it's, you know, and listen, do I believe that someone's going to make a lot of money from this? Yes, I do. I do believe that someone will make a lot of money from this pandemic. Actually, people are probably making money right now from this pandemic. You know what I'm saying? There's opportunists everywhere, right? But do I believe of a conspiracy theory? Listen, I like to live life positive and you know, and listen, people can call me ignorant and whatever the case may be. I like to believe that there are good people out there, you know, and I just don't want to think that there's people out there trying to hurt people, you know what I'm saying, on purpose, right? But there is. I just don't want to focus on it, to be completely honest. So I don't want to, you know, put things in my mind that I have no control over. So like for me to think there's a conspiracy theory, like I'm going to go now and change the world. Now give me the power, okay, today, give me the power to make a massive difference, make me like the president of the earth. Yeah, I'm going to definitely look into the conspiracy theories. And if I find it, I'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I have no power to actually change anything conspiracy theory wise. So I'm not going to like entrench my mind and fill my, you know, my friends with those thoughts and, you know, and go back and forth on it. It's useless conversation. I have more, you know, important things to focus my energy on, like my well-being, my health, you know what I'm saying? My, you know, my diet. There's a lot of things to focus on right now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's where I'm at with conspiracy theories.
I know, and I think that's valid. I think that everyone should.
Did one of you just fart? Ridiculous. Jesus Christ. Okay.
I'm glad I can't smell it. So, do you plan on coming back anytime soon, or are you kind of going to ride out life there for now?
You know, I definitely plan on coming back. And actually, my plan is when I do decide to come back, I'm actually going to be driving from Miami back to Canada. Oh, wow. I'm actually going to avoid taking the airports right now. And there's actually a reason. There's actually a reason why I'm doing that. I'm actually we have an exotic car down here in Miami as well, and I need to bring that back to Canada anyway. So it's going to be coming about a month early. So okay. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be just driving it back, and you know, some people are going to hate me doing that, but it's okay.
Yeah, the miles. What's that going to do to the
again, the miles. Yeah, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got the cars to enjoy them. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get them to park them in a garage. You know, so that's what's up.
So how did you come into all of these different businesses that you fell into over the years? What sort of led you to all of that?
Hunger, and you know what I'm saying? And that's what led me to getting into businesses. You know, and it's basically just being hungry, wanting more out of life, wanting to make a difference in this world. You know, with the people around me and people abroad. That's my goal. You know what I mean? I want to help as many people as possible, and I felt like you know, you could always do that, but I feel like if you're put in a better position financially, or you know, I think you can do a bigger impact. So I mean, that's one. I also want to, you know, I want to have a better life for my future kids, you know, a better life than what, you know, how I grew up. But yeah, so that's, yeah, that's what led me to having businesses and stuff.
Now, Mo, do
Yeah,
you have any children of your own right now, or
what's that?
do you have any children of your own?
No, I have no children. I have no children. But if I wish I could show you. I have my beautiful niece. Her picture is my screensaver. So I wish I could show you that. But yeah, she's like my child. I love her to death. She actually, look, she made me this about 7 months ago.
Oh, so
It's still in my hand. I love her to death. You know what I'm saying?
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Mo, if you could leave your viewers with anything to say to them live in regards to COVID-19 or just starting a business during this trying time, what would it be?
You know, for COVID-19, I think everyone should definitely take it serious. Take your precautions. Do your research. Just don't listen to any conspiracy. There's gonna be so many conspiracy theories out right now. And you know what? If you can't physically do a difference because of that conspiracy, like, don't even bother flooding your mind with it. Focus on the people around you. Focus on your household, and your own health. I think that's number one. I mean, and don't think that we're isolated. I know there's actually cases of people committing suicide right now in this time. It's really serious, and I think people should really think that outside of this there's going to be life again. Like, this is just a temporary situation. There's a lot of things that we can do to keep each other sane. You know what I'm saying? In your home, and you know, and you know, using FaceTime or whatever. Utilize the situation. You know what I'm saying? Remember it, because when we're out of it, you can look back and say, oh my God, you know, that was a rough time, or we had fun, or we evolved as people. A lot of people are meditating and really taking the opportunity to do that as well. And for business, I mean, if you're going to start a business right now to sell sanitizer and toilet paper and stuff like that, I mean, that's cool. But I mean, this will be over. One thing I personally learned is I want to do a transition, a big transition, and I've been working on this for actually before this all happened, to really transition online, for online sales, and really just, you know, yeah, we're gonna be president of 2021. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah. But like, we're gonna really transition my businesses to online, and I'm actually starting some online businesses as well. This is one thing where I'm like, you know what, that if anything came out of this pandemic, is to realize that, you know, the people that are doing really well right now are online businesses. Right. They actually skyrocketed. You know, I mean, Amazon sales skyrocketed. Of course, certain products, but you know, online business, I think, is going to be a bulletproof thing in the future. I think everything's kind of transitioning that way. It's been transitioning like that for a long time, but this is just a reminder of where the world's going digitally.
You're absolutely right. Mo, do you think that with things going more digital, the government will have a more controlled online presence in terms of what we share, sell, view even? Do you think they'll put any restrictions on that?
I mean, listen, Facebook has restrictions as well. They've been penalized many times for monitoring their people. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I don't know the word for that. But at the same time, listen, personally for me, I don't care, to be honest. You know, everyone, if you think that your life is private, you're living in La La Land. If you have a phone these days, a cell phone, a smartphone, you're being tracked on every app. You know what I mean? Every app does that. It's for their analysis. You know what I'm saying? They need to better their systems, and they use those tools to do that. And by doing that, I mean, they track you. They have your search history. You know, you take a picture somewhere, and your GPS is connected to that picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with it. I'm embracing the future. I'm not gonna fight against it. I look at it and I say it's inevitable, unless all of us people are gonna get together and we're gonna fight it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a big beast, and it's growing, and you know, it's not a negative thing. You know what I mean? It's not a negative thing at all. I think it's very positive.
What are you doing for faith right now? Are you the type of person that meditates? Do you look to God? Do you do anything to bring yourself sort of a calm, a peace, or are you just genuinely a peaceful person? I
mean, no, you know, listen, I think, you know, there's a part of me that's a peaceful person, and there's the aggressive part, and then there's like a negative part and a positive part. And I think you just, you know, meditation or just kind of having focus in your own mind kind of brings that all together, and you have control of it all, you know, control over it all. Sorry. So it's no, I do meditate. I meditate. You know what I'm saying? There's different meditations that I do. You know, from in the shower to just sitting on a beach or going on a bike ride. I do meditate. I get in my own mind. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we definitely do that.
Yeah. Now, one last question before I let you go, Mo. Do you feel safe being in the States? I mean, I know in general, America is not the safest place to be. But now with all of this, have the people there kind of gone mad?
No, you know what? Listen, despite everyone buying up all the guns, I'm doing a project actually on a gun range here in Miami, and my buddy's telling me that his whole gun range is completely sold out. Bullets are flying right off the shelves. Like there's going to be a bullet shortage, by the way, and I shouldn't have said that. Now the people who are watching this are going to go run tomorrow and buy a bunch of bullets, but there is going to be a bullet shortage. It's yeah. I mean, everyone's is loading up because I think it's not. Listen, Canada's different. There's about 40 million people. The government can help us, with these little payments of do. There's 300 million plus people here in the U.S. They can't. If you give $1,000 a person, it's not. It will not be enough, right?
Right.
So things are a little bit different here. Do I feel safe? Absolutely. I mean, I feel safe everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? Because I use my mind everywhere I go. I feel safe. I feel secure. I'm not worried at all. I mean, people have not gone mad. Everyone's still kind of cool. The American people are great people. Yeah, there's nothing really negative to say, to be honest. I like it.
And is your boy Trump holding it down, or?
He's holding it down. You know what I'm saying? My boy Trump's holding it down. He keeps making us laugh. You know what I mean? With his I love watching him. He's actually like a comedian. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
It's some funny stuff he does. To be honest, it's hilarious. But yeah, no, listen. I think leaders around the world are doing what they can in this situation. This is something new to everybody. This hasn't happened for like 200 years or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that's new that everyone's trying to cope with. No one could actually predict that something like this can just shut the world down and all this would happen. So, I mean, I think they're just people like us. They're people like you and me standing up stage trying to calm a country down. Try calming your own household down, right? Or your friends or your group of, your circle of friends. But imagine trying to calm down an entire country of people going crazy.
Right.
Right. And wanting answers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I commend everybody. You the man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I can honestly, I respect all the leaders right now, and I just want to throw it out there as well. All the first line workers. You know what I'm saying? From emergency workers to construction workers right now that are doing work, the city workers, to Uber delivery drivers. You know what I'm saying? To they're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The people that are working at Taco Bell. You know what I mean? There's you got to really respect everyone that's out there right now, still holding on to like the little bits and pieces of this fabric that still, weaves our society together. Without these people right now, all the police officers that are out doing their job, there would be chaos. This is actually nothing right now. You know what I'm saying? And there's been cops that have been actually the first police officer died in New York recently. Wow. From coronavirus. So. And it's sad. So they're definitely got to give those people respect.
Yeah. No, definitely. Well, Mo, I don't want to keep you. I know you're very busy, as you did forget about me, but that's okay.
Oh, no, I did not forget about you. Don't you say that.
Of course not. I'm unforgettable. But anyways, thank you so much for being on Oh Shit, Mo. I will definitely have you back to chat in a couple of weeks to see how you're still doing. Because I
absolutely
we started sitting in our pods forever.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Be safe, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye.
What a guy. Such a nice, inspiring soul. Hussein Moussa, where are you? I'm coming for you 4 minutes early. Because your girl can't do math, apparently. Hi, guys. Hi, Elias. Elias doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be on my show Friday night. Everybody remember that. Hi, Hussein. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for finally agreeing to be on my show. Welcome.
Yeah, pleasure. This is new for me, so forgive me if I'm a bit nervous or a bit weird.
That's okay. You're always weird and always nervous, no matter where you are in life.
Do it.
You have to think about it. We're always live, really. When we meet each other face to face, are we not live?
Definitely.
Okay, so the only difference is now we're live in front of X amount of people. No.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, that's it. So let's do it.
Hussein, I
How's
have a lot
it?
of
First of
questions.
all, you're good?
Me, alhamdulillah, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm okay. And you're doing this every single day? Like, no days off?
No days off. I don't have a job right now. I'm currently unemployed, so, I'm just waiting on Oprah right now. That's all I'm doing.
Yallah, khair. Good luck.
Thank you. I have a lot of questions for you. Some of them are regarding COVID and some of them are not, because you have a very interesting mind that I'd like to kind of like unravel.
I'll try.
I'm going to start with COVID though.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you believe it to be, I know you're a man of religion, do you believe it to be sort of sent down from God as a punishment? What are your thoughts?
My initial thought on it is the reaction of our society and of individuals and everybody, and how much influence government has had on the way we interact and engage with each other. Like, I'll give you a quick example. For a certain society to develop cultures, it takes years, decades, centuries to build up certain cultural practices.
Right.
When it comes to COVID, within weeks, our cultural practices have been changed. And that kind of control, for me, is always concerning. You have to imagine, the way we interact, the way we greet each other, we say hi to each other, it's been thrown out the window. In 2 weeks, we were able to erase that cultural practice and replace it with a whole other one. And to me, something like that is really, really astonishing. And I'm not saying it's bad or good, but the fact that that can happen is really impressive.
Right.
And another thing I would look at is just, if I'm forgive me for being a bit skeptical, not that COVID doesn't exist or doesn't exist, but for its origins,
Right.
I know your previous guest said it doesn't matter, but for me, why it matters is because, okay, people care about, social, our healthcare workers, and
Right.
everyone's out on pans and balconies and hitting their pots and whatnot. But if we really care about our healthcare workers, first of all, we should be increasing their pay. We should be giving them emergency pay. We should be increasing their benefits. We should be having more nurses, having more doctors so they can work less. I think those are real ways that our healthcare workers would really appreciate our gratitude.
Right.
Us clapping on pots is a form of manipulated gratitude again.
Right.
There's so little that's sincere. There's so little that's genuine. So even if I want to show my care for a nurse, I'm going to go hit a pot. Okay, great. But why don't we pool together to get them medical equipment so they can treat patients and they can protect themselves from these issues?
No, you're absolutely
But rather, we're told how to show gratitude rather than expressing gratitude in a sincere, genuine, intimate way. And that's another observation I've made. And then one last one. Forgive me. I know I'm kind of rambling on.
No. Real
No,
people.
forgive me. I'll give you one last one. I've made this point before, and I'm going to share it with you. Is the government and news agencies are recognized, self-admitted liars. Not that Hussein accuses them of lying. They themselves, government officials within the governments, will say that we lied when it came to example 2003. We're going to go bomb Iraq for weapons of mass destruction. So it's not people accusing them. They themselves admit we lied when we went into Iraq in 2003. Then the news agencies reported that they were going to war for weapons of mass destruction. So at the very best, they're fools for making such a mistake that's killed millions, exploited, pillaged, raped, impoverished an entire country for generations to come. So at the very best, they're fools. At the very worst, they're liars. And then me, if I'm simply skeptical of the origins of COVID and the narrative that's shared, I'm seen as like the crazy guy that wears a tinfoil hat, the crazy conspiracy theorist. When you believe the narrative that's given to us, you're the respectable, responsible, serious citizen. When you are accepting the words of a self-admitted liar or fool, and then
So
to me, it's mind-blowing. It's really incredible.
I do agree with you, but I think that the way that I look at it is we are all self-serving creatures. All of us. I am, you are, Mo before you was. Every single one of us is self-serving, no matter what it is we do. We give because it makes us feel grateful. It makes us feel humble. It makes us feel proud. If we didn't feel those things, we wouldn't feel the need to donate. We believe in what we're being told in the media because it brings us peace of mind. Okay, what they're saying is what it is. Let's just believe that. Because if I choose to think past that, I will then be putting myself in a mental state that maybe I cannot handle. So I do agree with you, but I think for a lot of people, it's not that they're choosing ignorance. I think it's that they're choosing their form of sanity. And I don't know how you feel about that statement, but to me, that's how I view it.
Yeah, I would accuse those people of being of confusing ignorance with bliss. Ignorance is far from bliss. Ignorance is a state of enslavement and a state of unawareness. And who would want to experience life unaware? Who would want to experience life distant from it? There's no bliss in ignorance. It's escaping the reality of what life is meant to be. And life, if experienced wakefully and aware, is an astonishing experience. So who would want to diminish that experience by being ignorant? And if you bring the public into it, and I say this like sincerely and not dramatically, we do choose our ignorance.
We do.
When we are willingly brainwashed, when we are willingly indifferent, to some extent, even the criminal penal code, if I, excuse the example, I run over you, I kill you, I'm drunk, I run, that is criminal negligence, negligent driving, manslaughter, even though there was no intent behind that death of yours from my part. So if I am if my ignorance and my unconsciousness and my passivity and my indifference is empowering governments to exploit and kill others as well as brainwash me, then I hold a level of responsibility in that crime. At the very least, yeah, like I'm being criminally negligent. If I'm empowering people to behave in a certain way on my behalf, there's criminal negligence there. And this passivity and indifference, with all due respect to your previous guest, I can't make a difference. Well, yeah, okay. With that attitude, you're not going to make a difference. I have no power. I have no influence. The one thing I do have is I have influence over my mind and my thought. So why would I want to sacrifice that so willingly to somebody else? But I can try to control my mind and have control over it, as well as the circle around me, and make myself aware as well as those around me. And if that's the extent of my power, then that's the responsibility that I have, and that's what I'm going to do. Because if I was walking down the street with you and I stole your purse, forget your purse, I stole the $5 pair of glasses you had that you bought from Mexico, you'd be annoyed. You'd be annoyed. But we willingly give our minds, to people who manipulate them. Like I'm gonna ask you a question. Tara.
Yeah.
How much of your thoughts, how much of your ideas, how much of your desires, how much of the gratitude you show, the love that you have, the things that you want, the debt that you carry, the ambitions you hold, are genuinely and organically yours, and how much of them were manipulated, controlled, engineered?
I think that to answer that question, I have to say it depends on the point in my life where you're asking me this. If you were to ask me this 5 years ago.
I'm asking you now.
You're asking me now, I can tell you none of who I am or what I am is controlled by anybody or anything. And I think that statement shows clear in the fact that I'm even doing this as a Muslim married woman who's recently fought in a Muay Thai competition, who has 2 kids, who has no care in the world as to what anybody says or thinks on what she does. I run my life. Nobody runs my life. And that goes into judgment. And the reason why a lot of people fear what they think and what they do based off what they think is not because they fear the direction their life will go. They fear the judgment others will place on them. When I got on in that ring and I stood there with another woman and I fought her, knowing my aunts from Hajj, my uncle from here, they may not be proud of me in that moment. They may not be proud of the way that I'm dressed, the reason why I'm in there, what I'm trying to prove and what I'm trying to accomplish. But I didn't stand in there with them in my mind. I stood there with myself in my mind. This is something I need to do for me. And I am very unapologetic in the things that I do for myself. I will always do for myself what I want.
So is that better? Is it better to live like that or to be willfully ignorant?
I think that everyone needs to come to a point in their life where they're willing to understand themselves. And once they've understood themselves and they've accepted themselves, that's when they can say, I don't give a what anybody else thinks.
But is the majority of your friends, your circle, or just society in general, are they organic, genuine, real people, or are they mainly manufactured people?
I think that in our age category, with the women that I'm surrounded with, and it's taken a long time based on how we were raised and what we were told to believe. It's taken a long, long time, especially for those of us who have been in Ottawa for a long time and have the same circles, and everybody kind of knows everybody's story. It's taken a long time for us to stand up and say, you know what? Despite what everybody thinks, I don't care. This is who I am. And I think a lot of people are following suit. I don't think that people genuinely at this age care. I think we have far more to care about than anything else.
I'm going to give you an example of how I don't see it the same way. And it's something me and you discussed.
Yes.
So I made a post questioning, sarcastically, it was insincerely questioning how alcohol is considered an essential service. And my point on that is, let's assume I'm wrong. And let's imagine it is an essential service. And every single alcoholic is going to go through withdrawal and they're going to take up all the beds. Let's assume that's all true. And I was wrong. I had other people of your age category who are independent of you and don't run in your circles also attack me with the exact same reason that was provided on CBC, CTV, and whatever other news agencies. It is always good to be skeptical of a liar even when they tell the truth. And the fact that 5 different people came at me from 5 different circles with the exact same reasoning makes me question the sincerity of what you had to say. Was it something that was where you were told to believe and you just accepted it because you were told via the news? And I'll tell you what, because me and you, your husband, and whoever else is watching, let's say 5, 6 people, to agree on dinner would be impossible.
Right.
Within 2 minutes. To agree on what we're going to watch on Netflix after would be equally as impossible. But when we're told what to agree on, we magically all accept that the beds would be filled with alcoholics and people are going to be dying of corona on the streets. And I agree. Let's say I was wrong. How is cannabis an essential service when last year it was illegal? And now I have the same people telling me cannabis is an essential service.
It's true.
We gotta really be critical of what we're, listen, not only of what we're told, we gotta be critical of the things that we think. Right. Like I'm always, before I speak, I question the words I use because there's impressions in those words. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm an hardcore anti-Zionist. I don't support Zionism whatsoever. So let's say I'm in a debate with a friend of mine who's Jewish and who's a Zionist. And if I want to give an example of the most evil person in the world, the most evil, the worst person, to make him understand my point, I'll do a thought experiment with you. If you want to convey in an argument the worst, most evil person, okay, who would you use as a reference point to illustrate that?
Personally?
The most evil person, yes.
I feel like I know too many, but...
Not in your personal life, someone that we would all know.
Somebody that we would all know.
Yeah, history would know, yeah.
I'd say Hitler.
Thank you very much. So now I am, let's say, pro-Palestinian. I'm in a discussion with a pro-Israeli. I want to depict the Israeli government as evil. I say they're as bad as Hitler, for example.
Right.
But what I'm doing there, because this idea of Hitler as being the most evil person in the world, which is true, he's bad, he's committed crimes. No one's going to disagree with that. What he did is inexcusable. But when I use him as the excuse, it's cementing the excuse an Israeli Zionist would use for what he needs to do in Palestine. He uses the example because of what Hitler did, gives me the reason for me to occupy Palestine. So now when I'm using Hitler as an example, I'm subconsciously giving seriousness to that point that he would make. Whereas I could use Winston Churchill because look what he was doing in India. I can use Truman because look at the 2 bombs he dropped in Japan. But when I use Hitler as the example to justify evil, I'm justifying the Israeli position that we need to have our own state because Hitler did that to us. So I'm undermining my own argument.
I think
because of the words. It's language. Language, it has a huge impression as to who we are.
I don't agree with you. I don't disagree with you. Sorry. I agree with you entirely. And I think that you're absolutely right. But I think the problem is that it's everything from the media to the school systems. We are what we are taught. And it is very difficult to go and find information on areas that not that you're ignorant to, but that you genuinely don't care to find information on. And that's the side of it.
It's the information is there. You just have to, and without trying to sound corny and cheesy, you just have to take a second to think. People need to just take a second and reflect, and they'll uncover any truth. Every truth is the oldest reality, and it's there to be shared and had by all. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you another example of words and the dangers of words. So, Tara, you're a terrorist. So I'm gonna call you an Islamic fundamentalist according to the news. But when you're playing basketball, I say, Tara, go back to the fundamentals because it's the basics of basketball. So if you're practicing Islam fundamentally, you are in turn a terrorist. So it's this language, and it's an impression that's created in my mind now that if you practice Islam fundamentally, that means in turn I am a terrorist. Whereas if I don't practice it fundamentally, therefore the basics of it, I'm considered a Muslim, but then I'm really in turn not practicing. So truth is there if you just take a second to slow down and really analyze what you're hearing and as well as what you think. But a lot of us just gobble up. We accept without pause. Without pause. We sacrifice our mind and our thoughts and our ideas without pause, without reflection. And when you do that, yeah, obviously, then yeah, you're giving up people. It's like if I take $20 from you, it's annoying. But if I control your mind, we should be more outraged. We should be more frustrated. We should be more annoyed. But that's far from the reality of where we are.
You know what this reminds me of? I saw, it was actually Moe Nadine posted something a while back saying, if a stranger walks by you and took your body, you'd be furious. Give your mind so freely, have you no shame? And I sat and I read it over and over again. And I messaged him and I said, you know, they're separate entities. You can't view your mind and your body as the same thing. They're completely different. And I said to him, I said, you know, this is a great conversation. This is something I would like to discuss. And I'd like to know your opinion on a statement like that. Because you're clearly very vocal on how you think. What would you say to a statement like that that suggests that giving your mind freely is the same thing as just allowing someone to take your body as they please? What would you say on that?
Yeah, you have to repeat that. Giving your mind freely. Sorry?
The statement was, if a stranger on the street took your body and sold it to another, you would be furious.
Right.
Yet you give your mind so freely and openly, have you no shame?
Right, yeah.
So
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that statement?
It just goes to exactly what I've been saying the whole time. It's the reality of what we've done. We've willingly sacrificed our ideas, we have to look at the debt we hold, the jobs we have, the lives we live, the trends we follow. A lot of it isn't organically and genuinely ours. which goes to that point. It's like, Tara, the best thing you can offer this world, there's one thing you can offer this world more than anybody else, better than anybody else. That's being Tara.
Mm-hmm.
No one can do that as well as you. Impossible, but even that you can't do anymore. Even that, people, the thing they can do best, they sacrifice in order to mimic and copy others that are also not being themselves. How unfortunate. So who ends up losing? Tara ends up losing because she's not being the best Tara she can be. Society ends up losing because we're not being offered the best version of Tara, and we do that in order for all of us to be the same as each other.
Yeah.
Why? We do that because of conformity. And I made a post earlier about Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos. These guys, they what people, when they it's a whole nother discussion. I don't want to. So I'm gonna move away from it. But we really have to be cautious of when I buy something. I ask myself, why am I buying this? Do I really want it? Was I told to want it? Am I putting myself further in debt, aka without exaggerating, the term is accurate, slavery, for something that I genuinely want? If the answer is yes, great, go for it. Put yourself into debt. Arguably, it's a good idea. But so we have to, okay, I'll give you an example. Every single person has a winter jacket today, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the fur on the side. I purposely don't buy one with the fur on the side. Just because everyone else does it. Because just the act of not conforming to something in itself has value. Even if it's done insincerely. That's the position where we are in this world today. Even if you can insincerely be different, it's still better than conforming to something that's only manipulating you and placing you further in debt.
But I think that, Hussein, a lot of this goes back again to culture and to how we were raised. And it's not just culture, Canadian culture, Western culture. This goes into Arab culture and the way that we talk about one another. Actually, and I'll bring this up because we're on this topic and I'd like to bring it up. I don't think you remember about, I don't know, maybe it was 10, 14 years ago when I first met you at the Lebanese festival. And when I met you and I said hi to you and I introduced myself to you, you said to me, yeah, I know who you are. And I've never forgotten that. I
don't even remember that. Forgive me. Why did I mean by that?
I don't remember that. Maybe because you're sitting here a different man. But I remember that. And I thought to myself after, and I still think about it to this day, yeah, I know who you are. No, you didn't know who I was.
But what did I mean by that?
I don't know. But the way that I look at it and the way that I take it is in the way that any other person in our culture, in our society, in our generation would take it. You know me based off maybe what you've heard about me, maybe what you think you know of me. You don't genuinely know me as a human being, and nor do you think that I am worth the value or the time to get to know me as a human being, to even shake my hand and say, nice to meet you. And I think that a lot of what happens with conformity and what you're saying is because of that mentality. And it is because we were raised to believe that you are what your reputation says you are. So if you don't buy a jacket with fur on it, your neighbor's going to think you're poor. And if you don't do this, that, and the other thing, that, when I started these lives, I was worried. One, the girls my age, my generation, they're probably going to think she's trying to get attention. That was one of my worries. Two, what are the men going to think of my husband allowing his wife to come on every night at 9 p.m., go live with people and discuss topics like this? That was another concern. Three, I said to myself, I don't care. I don't care because I'm clearly doing it anyways. So I, over the years, have broken down so many of my own personal barriers and said to myself, judgment or not, they're judging you regardless. So go out and do what you have to do to the best of your ability. But the problem is a lot of people still hold on to that fear of judgment. A lot of people do. Reputation for a lot of people is all they are. It's all they've ever known. And it's all they will ever amount to. So to come and say to them, don't conform to society, don't conform to society, well, you're basically telling them, get rid of all the teachings you've ever been told, tell your parents, fuck you, basically, and get up and do something different. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has, you know, what it takes to stand up to their culture, their race, their religion, their family, and say, I'm going to do me. Peace out. How can you sit there so comfortably and tell people to do that?
Well, you want me to jump in?
Go for it.
So back to 14 years ago, I don't remember what I meant by it. If I even...
It was rude.
I don't remember what I meant by it. And as for making a judgment about you, I think the reason, you know, people make judgments about each other and stereotype each other, it's because laziness. We're too lazy to get to know each other, and we're too lazy to give each other a chance. And I'm sure if we did, we'd be surprised what we see a lot of the time. That's a general. So it was maybe if I didn't give you a chance back then, forgive me, but it would have been laziness on my end not to give anybody a chance. And about conformity and going, because a lot of it is cultural, a lot of it is religious, a lot of it is societal, a lot of it is economic.
Of course.
A lot of it. Listen, when a woman wants a diamond ring, she doesn't want it. She's been brainwashed into it. With all due respect to anyone.
No, she doesn't want a diamond ring. She wants to show her friends.
That's a whole other. Whether it's, you know, it's like the thing is about. We express our values to each other by our economic buying power. I'm a good husband because I buy you this. I'm a good father because I buy you. I have to buy my daughter a Canada Goose jacket because her other friends have it. So my value as a father and as a husband is expressed by economic means because we economically shame each other. These are the dangers. We economically shame each other. Oh, I bought this for 50% off. I might be embarrassed to say it. It's become fashionable though today to buy things through thrift stores, again through conformity. That's what I keep going back to it. Whereas instead of valuing each other based on our economic value, I should be able to judge you. Yes, judge you. I know it's an uncomfortable word. No, we do judge each other, and we should judge each other as long as you do it justly and maturely and fairly, because it's a reality to life. You can't go life without. Let me continue my point. Let me continue playing. But we judge each other based on each other's virtue, each other's wisdom, each other's honor, each other's generosity. These are the, you know, this, which brings to my story. There was a Greek philosopher, and his home was pillaged, and his town was robbed and burnt down. And so the authorities came, and they said they were taking notes as to what he lost. And they noticed his house was burnt, his wife was killed, his kids were stolen and robbed and tortured. He lost everything, his home and his family and his property. So they in turn, they asked him, so what else did you lose? He said, I lost nothing. They're like, what do you mean you lost nothing? You lost your family, you lost your property and your house. He says, anything that can be stolen from me is never truly mine. So what's truly ours is our manners, is our perspective, is our virtue. These are the things that no thief can take. Okay, this is an extreme ideal. I'm not saying we can enact that ideal, but we can definitely appreciate it and try to move towards something like that. And so when you're talking about your aunts judging you or my parents judging me, or trust me, I get judged all the time too for life choices I've made. Some right, some wrong, no problem. But the key is some of our practices are good and we should do them, but do them genuinely. For example, if you believe 1 + 1 = 2 because I brainwash you into believing it, that's actually harmful. Any form of brainwash is harmful, even if it's right. Rather, you need to believe 1 + 1 = 2 because it's right and because it's true. So a lot of our practices, be it religious, be it cultural, the ones that are true, the ones that are fair and just and beautiful, we need to practice them and practice them genuinely, sincerely. The same way you do anything. That's why intent. Everything is about intent. You know, going back to the nurses, hitting pots. You know, if you make dinner for your husband and he sincerely tells you, oh, Habibti, this was so good. I appreciate it. I loved it. It tastes amazing. You feel it. He means it. How much more does that mean to you when he's just saying it, he doesn't even really mean it, and he's not really appreciative. It's sincerity. We need to do everything sincerely. So when I say we need to be careful of conformity, we do, because we need to be aware of who we are and be sincere people, real people.
I agree with that statement, but when you tell me we have to accept judgment, I can't agree with that. Because Hussein, that's like me, everyone has perspective, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to explain this.
But not everyone's perspective is right. I'm sorry. People are wrong.
But yes, and with that statement, I mean, you are only as wrong as the person who deems you wrong. And that's it. Like, if I listen to everything you say, you can't be that ignorant and arrogant to think that you're only right.
Definitely I'm not. But
can't.
I know there's a truth. There is a right.
There is a truth and there is a right. But I think that throughout life, the purpose of life is to go forward to find that truth and to find that right. Not to assume that one sole person is truthful and right. I can't say that I believe that any man or woman or whatever it is will tell me anything that is truthful and right, because we are all built flawed. I am flawed. You are flawed. Your neighbor is flawed. And no matter what statement you give out, whether it's beautifully articulated in your mind, you will never be able to express your thoughts as they appear in your head. It's impossible. And I will never be able to understand your thoughts that sincerely. But when you tell me that judgment is valid and that we have to accept judgment because it's something that we all do, that is where we're wrong. This is where we need to correct ourselves, because you are not God, nor am I. I have no business or place to judge who you are or what you say or what you do, nor do you have place or business to judge me. At the end of the day, when I face my maker, he's going to ask me, what did you do for me lately? He's not going to say, what were your neighbor's thoughts on you?
Mm-hmm. I know it's unpopular today to tell someone you're wrong, but the truth of it is people are wrong. I'm not saying I'm not wrong. I could be wrong all the time, but we are uncomfortable being honest and real with each other. Being real, again, means holding people to account when they're wrong, sincerely and genuinely, and not meaning it in a hurtful, arrogant way. But you are wrong. So now that you're wrong, let's move forward. I'm wrong. Now let's move forward. If we don't recognize when we're wrong, how could we move towards truth? We have to acknowledge something.
But there's a difference between judgment and saying that somebody is wrong. When you're passing judgment on somebody, you are creating an idea and an image of them in your mind that is not accurate. Okay?
It could be accurate.
But it can't be, because you are judging them based off one particular moment, one instance in their life. You do not know them. You have not seen what took them to that point. You have not seen what led them past that point. You don't know.
I'm not, but we have a whole court system full of judges.
Sorry guys, I got disconnected from my scream fest with Hussein. Hopefully he'll come back in here and we can yell at each other some more. Let's see where this guy went. I hope you're all enjoying this festival of yelling. It's fun. One of my favorites here, bro. Let's get this shit done so I can scream at you some more. Now that you're back. Sorry.
Yeah, when you say judgment, what do you mean? You can't pass judgment on someone's morals? What do you mean?
I'm referring to judgment based off character, morals, ethics, based off the things that as hold on, because these are things that culturally people judge each other for. You can't tell me that you've never once. Okay, let's put it this way. You're a man. I'm going to assume, I don't know what your status is. I'm going to assume you're single, or at one point of your life you were.
Okay.
As a man.
I thought you were assuming my gender.
That's a topic.
Hey.
The other day. That's a topic for the other day. I think you're very fluid. But as a man, right now, say you were single or you have been in the past, when you were to meet somebody coming to you, you have a set of criteria that you want in a female, no?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we all have an idea.
Everybody does.
Definitely.
Just like when I met my husband, I had a set of criteria that I was looking for. And
Right.
you go down and you go check, check, check. And if
Right.
you meet somebody whose criteria does not meet your check marks, you rule them out. And in your mind, you have a notion and a predisposition of this person. They are not right for me because they do not meet this, they do not meet this. Therefore, in my mind, they are bad.
Right. That's unfair.
It's unfair, but it is just. It is what happens. It is the unfortunate side of our social interactions with one another. It is the unfortunate thing that leads us to conform based on guidelines that we feel we have to fit into because we are being judged in every aspect. And this is so much more for females, so much worse than it is for males. Because it's if I do this, if I deviate in this way, not only will I be punished by a higher power, I will be punished by the people here on earth watching and spectating. That is what we have in our heads. And tell me I'm wrong, please. Tell me anybody watching this right now that I'm wrong.
You know, I'm saying judgment can be handed out unjustly, but as well as fairly. And for us, for people that genuinely care about me, I would hope that they judge me fairly so I can improve. The idea that in today's world, that, for example, sport teams, like there's soccer games without balls, soccer balls today, because there's no winners or losers. That moves us away from truth. What do you mean? How could you have a soccer game without a ball? Because you don't want winners or losers. Because we don't want to pass judgment. We don't want to say he's good at soccer. Listen, if I have a child and he's bad at soccer, I tell him, Habibi, you suck at soccer. And I say that with all my love. Because you know what matters in life? You know what matters in life? You could be good at soccer. And I could be good at math. And he could be good at music. We could all have gifts. But when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to virtue and goodness, we are all equally qualified to own the things that matter most. When it comes to being a good human, no one has a disposition better than the other. When it comes to being honest, if you're arguing with your husband, with all due respect to him, I don't know him, and if he looks at you and he says, I'm just like this, with all due respect, no one is just like this. No one is born a donkey. When it comes to being a good, fair, honest, genuine, kind, loving person, we all can be the things that matter most. We can all be the things that matter most. So if I'm not good at soccer, or someone's not good at this, and someone passes judgment about that, it is what it is. If I was wrong, good, I'm wrong. Now I know how to move forward and become better. But when we are so insensitive in accepting fair criticism, that's to our hindrance. I'm not talking about poorly judging people based on perception, poorly judging people based on stereotype. That comes from laziness. That's wrong. No problem.
It is very rare in our society and in our culture that judgment is passed directly to your face.
Which
Judgment
is wrong.
Not passed that way. Judgment is passed
wrong.
from person to person about a person, but never to that person. And
Yeah.
that is what we have to make clear in this conversation, is that when we are referring to judgment, we are not sitting in a court of law where I'm being judged fairly with an attorney and something like this. We are sitting and I am technically not in any way, shape, or form aware of the judgment being passed upon me. And these are the flaws in our culture that we need to correct right now on a social level in our home. Somebody just said, I thought this was about COVID-19.
Yeah, what happened to COVID? I saw that comment.
So I'm going to bring back COVID-19 right now, girl. Okay, so here's what I have judgment
we can move back to COVID. Ask me something about COVID.
While you're locked up in your homes, on Instagram, viewing everybody you normally view, and you used to pass a girl and say, whatever your mind would say about her, screenshot and send to a friend. While you're locked up in your home, think about those actions and interactions that you would have with your friends. Let's correct that on a social level right now. Try to demolish that kind of arrogance and ignorance we have against one another. That's where it ties into COVID-19, is that now you have the time to focus on your actions and interactions. Whereas before, you'd be busy at work, busy out with your girlfriends. You'd see a photo, you'd screenshot it quick without even thinking and send it. Now you're home. Be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of what you're saying. Be aware of who you're saying it to. If you have judgment and criticism, go to that person. You have the time. That's how this relates to COVID-19. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
no one's gonna disagree with that. No
No.
one's gonna disagree with that. And it takes a brave person to be able to it takes a brave, genuine person to criticize another person to their face.
It does.
But it takes a coward and a weaker person to say, "Oh, you did great and you're a good person and you're not, you know, you're right." No, that's copping out. Hard conversations are hard to have today. You know, and that's a whole nother reason. There's a whole, you know, just aggressive language. There's a reason for that, because aggressive language, for example, how could I say this?
Just say it.
Even language. You know, I don't want to move too far away. I want to kind of just keep moving in the direction we're going. So we'll bring it back to wherever you want it to go. I'll move away from that point.
I think she just judged. No, I didn't. I'm not that kind of girl. I was just answering your questions.
Yeah, but anyways, you can reset. So where do you want to go from here? Are we done, or you have anything else you want to
No,
ask?
I have one more question, Hussein Moussa, if you haven't answered it already.
Yeah, what's up?
Perception versus reality on COVID-19.
The what?
Perception versus reality.
Oh, perception versus reality. I goes back to how I started. Recognized, self-admitted, not only accused liars have given us a narrative of how this spring has sprung, how this pandemic has come about. And I'm told that a girl ate a bat in China.
I don't think anybody believes that, genuinely. I don't think.
No. People believe it. You'll be surprised. I'm told, this is what's told by governments, by the news, that a girl ate a bat. That was caught on social media, because there's videos of it everywhere. And because of that, a girl in China ate a bat. People got to just take a second to think, you know, like how amazing that story is. And she ate the bat, and now in Ottawa, you know, we can't go to work, we can't go to the gym. And that's the story, and people are dying all over the world because of it. And I'm going to accept it. But what you should always be skeptical, and what makes me skeptical of the narrative given by an admitted liar or fool, is the fact that it happened in China. It's a bit skeptical. The fact that Iran was the first one of the major, after China, it was Iran that was hit. They have over 10,000 cases. They have ministerial officials that were killed in Iran because of it. In the cities of Qom, which is a religious seminary, which is super surprising. Iran is not this cultural hub as we like Italy or like New York City, where people are coming in like Heathrow Airport. And for China and Iran to be the first two countries that had high levels of corona is questionable. And I have the right to question it. I have the right to be suspicious, because the people that are telling me the story are admitted liars. And so I find that, especially when you look at the countries around China and around Iran, like Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, whatever, 5 cases, 6 cases. And then in Iran, over 10,000 cases, even government officials dying. I can't help but be suspicious. So, illusion or reality, it's definitely reality in the sense that there's this virus that does exist now, and it is killing people. But I'll say this: we're all of a sudden all concerned about old people. No one cares about the old people, because these old people, if they do survive, their pensions are gone, their savings are gone, their stocks have dropped, their RSVPs have dropped. So this concern we're showing the old people, in reality, again, is disingenuous. Because assuming they survive, what are they going to come out to? The same way they were screwed when they were younger, they're being screwed over again in their retirement years. Because again, our concern is fake. It's not real. And people that have money now, they're buying everything for nothing. Everything's pennies on a dollar, because whether it's COVID, whether it's feminism, whether it's war, whether it's democracy, whether it's religion, whether it's whatever the reason is, whether it's gay rights, homosexuality, gender issues, every single thing, the real issue behind all of it is always economic, is always power. They use the guise of feminism, the guise of human rights, the guise of religion, the guise of democracy, because those, but behind that guise, behind that veil, the real intent is always money. So I'm going to stick with COVID. The real intent behind COVID, like everything else, including our healthcare system, in the States, it's private. Pharmaceutical companies, they're making money. It's all economic. I work for Health Canada. Purdue Pharma, $1 billion pharmaceutical company, had to declare bankruptcy because they were buying out doctors to prescribe their drugs. Because our healthcare is a business. It's privatized. These are people that deal in people's health. Proof Purdue Pharma. Proof all the people that are dependent on drugs. All the people that are dying from drugs. Not cocaine, not crack, but medication. It's wild. Because they deal in our health. So if our health can be turned into a business, healthcare, health insurance, pharmaceutical companies, could not the same be with sicknesses and diseases? Oh yeah, well yeah, oh, they're willing to kill you with this, but not with this? I doubt it. I doubt it. And this indifference and this passivity and this ignorance makes us criminal to this reality. We have to make ourselves aware. We have to care. On that note, you'll have to forgive me. We've been going on it for a bit.
Thank you. You're one of my favorite people to yell at, so thank you so much for coming on my show.
Yeah, no, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And as a lot of people don't know, Hussein, you are an old friend, and I do value and respect you. Please don't take this as we are disrespecting one another. We just genuinely like to yell.
You judged me, and I'm still hurting for it. And I don't know how I'm going to recover, but God forgive you. God bless you. And good luck and good work. You know, you're doing something good. I hope you keep it up.
Thank you so much. Take care, and I'd love to have you back in a few weeks because we all know we're still going to be here. So we'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Take
Good
care.
luck.